week in racing. It's time to recap it. And who better to do it than Michael and Magic? Two bros/pros who cover the highs and lows of racing around the globe on every one of their shows. Real fans look forward to these guys and their last thoughts, cause they know they're not talking out of their royal ascot. What they say makes sense. So ladies and gents, sit back and relax as Blinkers Off presents The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
And this is The Magic Mike Show. Slightly different look going on today. Mr. Samich, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. Yeah, we got a new background there. You got some beautiful boats there. It looks like a nice little fan.
Venice.
Oh, it's Venice. There you go.
You've been there, yeah.
I have been there. Lots of water there. Good boat taxis. Really expensive rides on a boat where someone pushes you and sinks poorly. Yeah, it's a great place. Love it.
Oh man, it's something ridiculous. Like it was 120 euros for like a 20-minute ride or something like that. It's I mean, Venice is expensive, but it's one of those things that's ridiculous. But hey, this isn't Europe talk. This is horse racing talk, and we had our final weekend of Breeders' Cup prep races over this past weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, some official, some unofficial, so we'll get into all of that. If you watched last week's show, we had already started previewing the division, so now that we have a clearer picture, we're going to do that again today. Before we do, Mr. Samich, what's the best thing you saw this weekend?
It's the best thing I saw today. Going right to today. I realized there's a golden hour pick 4 today. I didn't even realize it's Columbus Day. Huge horse racing day. Like, it's amazing. We had Belmont earlier, which they had a little 4 or 5 itis there, but that's okay. We'll get back from that. And then I'm like, I was talking to someone about the golden hour pick 4, which, by the way, has quickly become one of the best bets in horse racing. I mean, paid $35,000. You mentioned before on the show here, it was like a $3,000 win parlay, and it paid $35K to hit it.
Yeah. 2 tickets.
And it's been just monster score after monster score, monster overlay, I should say. Not all scores are 35K, but the overlays are huge. It's a dollar denomination. Last two at Santa Anita, last two at Golden Gate. They're getting big pools. People really suck at betting Golden Gate, apparently. That's what I'm finding out from this. So, yeah, I think it's a great pool to play into. I'm excited to handicap and play it after we get off here.
Yeah, I saw the press release yesterday from Santa Anita announcing it's 35,000 and change, and I love that they put in there the win parlay was like 3,100 for $1. Yep. And I was like, this is something I wanted to bring up, so I'm glad you did, because we did the golden hour pick 4. Spoiler alert, we're going to go back to it probably again for this coming weekend in the next few weeks before, things are a little slow as we get towards the Breeders' Cup. I was like, thank you, Santa Anita, for putting that in there, because that just helps Mike and I and the other people who are trying to help promote this amazing bet to really emphasize why it's so important and so crucial that we support this thing, because the low takeout is a huge factor. People not knowing Golden Gate is a big factor. Now, I'll be honest, the 19-1 or 20-1 shot that won the final leg at Golden Gate, I wouldn't have gotten to that one. The other 3 were pretty logical. I think the Santa Anita ones were they were single-digit horses, so easily playable up to that point. But man, the dollar denomination, people not knowing Golden Gate, it helps out. If you're one of those 2 people who got the $35,000 in change, congrats to you.
One of them was on Twitter, Benny South Street, who's a big guy. He was one of the 2 that hit it. Yeah, Benny hit it. Yeah, Benny hit it. I assume he hit it because he said golden hour, hell yeah, all caps with an exclamation point on Twitter. So I assume he was one of the ones that cashed in there. So congratulations to you if it was, Benny. If not, sorry. I just gave you 35.
Sorry, we pumped you up here.
But yeah, no, it's a great bet, man. I'm looking forward to playing. We got to get the pool up. That's the big thing. If we could just get that thing up to like 200K every day, it would be an incredible bet. The 75K, to lose it a little bit if we have a bunch of people hit it. But man, if we can get up to like 200K, it'd be amazing. So tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your sports betting buddies. Golden hour, lots of action, quick, 30 minutes, like a half of football. You'll win or lose. It'll be quick. Painless, I promise.
I'm going to stick with the California racing. I brought her up, and I think I brought her up a couple of weeks ago when she debuted. Jessica Pifer is an apprentice rider in California. She's the stepdaughter of Phil D'Amato, who's a big trainer out here. Her father is a former jockey. Her mom's is Phil's assistant in the barn. And she's exercised horse. She's exercised as a magician. But she does a lot for Mandela. And so earlier this summer, we got word that she was going to try and see if she could become a jockey. And so she slowly worked her way towards it. And she ran a really nice, smart third in her debut start. And in her 6th career mount, she got the win. And she looked phenomenal doing it. And she looks so confident. She's in her early 20s. But she's got the long ponytail when she rides, so you can recognize her. But I just thought it was so cool that someone who I remember watching her first start and being excited because I've met her before. She's in a winner's circle photo with Kiana's Love when she was with Phil D'Amato. So I've gotten to know just a tiny bit. But it's just so cool that she has already gotten that first win 6 races into her career, and she's off to a really great start. And it's not like she's doing this at a lower end track. She's not at Zia or Will Rogers or even Golden Gate. She's at Santa Anita, beating, even in claiming races, beating some top jockeys.
And this is one of the unique situations where you can actually get a 10-pound bug and have an advantage in a lot of these races because she gets that 10 pounds for a while here. So especially if she's on speed horses, I think it's worthwhile because she seems like she's pretty strong. She's able to get the horse out well. She's been breaking well out of the gate, and that 10 pounds is a huge savings, especially in those lower level claimer races where they're all stumbling home anyway. I mean, having 10 pounds less on your back and a jockey that's putting aggressive rides into the horse is something that's valuable. So I think she's a live long shot jockey, assuming she continues to ride well. I mean, obviously the start has been amazing, so if she can keep it up, I think especially 10 pounds, she's worth including on tickets.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that, Phil's smart. Phil's got a lot of really big clients, so he's not just going to throw her on all of his horses to get her mounts. So watch and see when she starts riding for Phil, that could be a sign that Phil's very confident that she can get some of his better horses home.
I think first time out especially, you might see some of that where it's the first mount's kind of an important one, and she's been training him or been on top of him in the morning, so she's able to know the horse a little bit better, and then having again that 10-pound advantage on a 2-year-old. When you want speed, you need to break. I mean, all those things kind of line up. So D'Amato 2-year-olds that she's on, I think would be an interesting angle.
I'm excited for today's show. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to get into the divisions of horse racing. Tweeted it out about the little thing. We'll get into it right now. Let's get into everything, Mike. Riders up. Throw this up there. All right, Mike. First thing we're going to talk about, we're going to look at the Longines Classic and how everything is stacking for this division, and we're going to look at Happy Saver winning the Breeders' Cup winning you're in. Jockey Club Gold Cup Stakes at Belmont Park. It's 100 buyer, beats Mystic Guide, beats Tacitus. Raise your hand if you're surprised. Not. First of all, let's talk about the winning you're in, the Jockey Club Gold Cup. We previewed it on the show, Mike. This wasn't a great race. This was not a great field. I would argue that this was a slightly better field than the Woodward, than what Tacitus faced, and he won.
Apparently.
I'm sorry, not the Woodward, the Suburban, because he wasn't. Yeah, the Woodward was Global Campaign. But this was I was right. Happy Saver was my top pick. I was happy I got him home. And Tacitus, again.
I mean, that was atrocious. I mean, I'm not even going to sugarcoat this. That was so bad. Like we said, okay, he's controlling pace and probably the best horse. Well, he was controlling pace, and man, like Happy Saver had a bad trip in a 5-horse field. First off, like he got boxed in and had to go tight to the rail and squeeze through.
Which is hard to do.
Like, how do you do that? And then you have Tacitus, who's like loping along out there, like on a little Sunday stroll, and then just like folds it like a lawn chair around the turn. Gets passed by both the 3-year-olds, let alone one of them. I thought Mystic Guy was going to get the job done around the turn, and then Happy Saver spurted through the rail, was able to get up. But I mean, I don't even know what to do with Tacitus after this. Like, straight to the farm, or because like this was bad. Like this was not good.
This is how bad things are. If you're watching live on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, thanks for joining us. Michael Myers is one of our longtime fans, and we really appreciate him always joining us. He's been the biggest Tacitus flag. Like him and Slim have been the biggest Tacitus flag wavers, and he just commented that Happy Saver didn't beat shit, which includes Tacitus. That's how bad this field was, that his number one fan, the only person left in the world who's probably going to bet him in the Breeders' Cup, is now pooping on him too. Like, that's how bad everything was in this race.
He's not in the Breeders' Cup, right? You don't send him.
Well, those are two different questions, because he is still listed as under consideration for it. I wouldn't send him based off of that effort, but
I'm under consideration for it too. I'm probably not going to be there though.
Yeah. So this is how I want to segue this, because not much there. Mystic Guide's not going to the Breeders' Cup Classic. The two mules that were 4th and 5th didn't belong in a Grade 1 race to begin with. And then Happy Savers, we'll see what happens with him. So we're going to talk about the contenders now, and we're going to play a fun game that Mike doesn't know anything about. So we're going to play Which Would You Rather? And I'm going to give you the top 5 contenders based off of the Circa Sportsbook in Las Vegas, off of their odds. Because they have props going where you can bet yes to win the Classic and no to win the Classic. So would you rather play improbable plus 380 that he wins the Classic or minus 540 that he does not win the Classic?
Plus 380.
Really? You've been down on improbable a lot this year. I'm surprised you would take the plus 380.
I'm going to be down on a lot of the horses you're listing. I'm guessing. So at some point you got to pick one of them, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think there'll be 2 I'm going to say yes to, and 3 I'm going to say no to, and I'm pretty sure which 2 of those are going to be. So this is one of my 2 yeses.
All right, I'm going to keep track of this. All right, so Mike is on plus 380, yes for improbable. Tis the law. Would you rather play him at plus 410, yes he wins, or minus 600, no he does not win?
Plus 410.
Plus 410. All right, that was an easy one. I think everybody who listened knew that was going to be plus 410. Authentic, plus 505, yes, minus 790, no.
Minus 790, although I would rather pass.
Right. You were against him in the Derby. You doubled down in the Preakness and almost bit you in the ass a second time. So yeah, I understand your specific trepidation to not want to touch him. Maximum security, plus 605, yes, minus 1,000, no.
Oh, minus 1,000. Hell no.
Right. After the way that he ran in that last race, he did a lot of the dirty work up front and then just couldn't hold on when Improbable came flying by to win the Awesome again. Tom's Day Top, plus 625, yes, minus 1,050, no.
Oh, this is a risk-adverse move. I'll take the plus if you made me bet, because I don't want to lay the 12 to 1. But that's surely a risk-averse move there. I don't actually think he can win, but I'd much rather have $50 to win 300 than, risk winning $100 to lose 1,200.
So in the chat, it's been funny. I appreciate you guys following along. I didn't even ask for it. Everybody's just throwing out their numbers. Pretty much in agreement. Yes on improbable. Yes on Tis the Law. Authentic, a little split there. Everybody says no on maximum security and split on Tom's Day Tot. Okay, that's interesting.
You could get 16 to 1 on Happy Saver right now. Your boy Magic. Do you want it?
Tell you what, that's overseas. Go to Circa, get that money, keep it American based, because you can get plus 2,000 on Happy Saver right now. Tacitus plus 2,005. That extra 5 is what got me.
Or you could just light money on fire. Either one, you're getting the same amount back.
Some other choices here. Swiss Skydivers plus 700. She's really gaining a bit of steam now because it sounds like Kenny McPeak is just going to put her in the Classic instead of the distaff.
You do that, Kenny. You put her in the Classic. You do not face Monomoy Girl in the distaff.
He'd rather and he's been dodging Tis the Law all summer, understandably. He's more scared of Monomoy Girl than he is Tis the Law, is what that tells me.
I mean, Monomoy Girl in the Classic, what's her price?
She wasn't on the. She's not available on the Classic. I don't know.
I assume it's because she's running the distaff. But if Magic's making the morning line, where does she fall in this list?
Well, if I'm making the morning line, I'm gonna put her. I might put her about 7 to 2, which would put her right there with ahead of Improbable for favoritism, because I think she's going to take a lot of money. The point of the money line is the morning line
accurately
is to predict how people are going to bet, and I think that people will bet the shit out of Monomoy Girl because of how strong she's looked. I don't know that I trust her going a mile and a quarter against the best males that we have right now.
Well, let's what were Authentic's numbers? Plus 625 minus 1,000.
That was Tom's Attack. Authentic is 505 and minus 790. And
which side do you want? Assuming those numbers are the same for Monomoy, which side do you want?
I'd take, if she's plus 405 minus 790, no. I'm going to take no.
Interesting. I would take yes at that.
Just because I don't trust her against the top males. If any of the top males show up with their best game, it'd be really exciting, but it's that mile and a quarter. If we're going a mile and an eighth, I might take Monomoy, but a mile and a quarter, that's where I start to wonder how well she can relate. Because I remember she dodged the Alabama because partially the distance was a concern. So
yeah, all right, interesting.
fun little exercise. Other ones, Art Collectors is 14-1, though it sounds like right now he could either go here or the Dirt Mile. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Global Campaign, winner of the Woodward. I'm telling you, it keeps getting forgotten about. This could be a value horse come Breeders' Cup. He's 15.5-1. By my standards, 18-1. And a notable horse no longer on the list, Code of Honor. He is now out of the Breeders' Cup. It is no longer under consideration. Aiming for either the Cigar Mile or the Clark Handicap, both a little later in the year. I think Sugar McGahee realizing what you and I have talked about, this just isn't the horse that we saw, last year when he won the Jockey Club Gold Cup. So trying to be a little more realistic, and I think those are both grade ones, both stallion making races, but you're going to have a much later field if everybody's going to the Classic right around that same time.
Yep, dead on. It's going to be an interesting race. It's all going to be all about who shows up in the gate and what the pace looks like. I mean, that's really going to force the issue in quite a few horses' trips that they want to get. I mean, Authentic obviously on the lead will want to be on the lead. It'll be interesting to see what other speed is in there and what does Max do. There's a lot of question marks in this race and how horses are going to actually set it up. This
horse right here, if you're watching on the screen, Midcourt. I want him to go wherever Maximum Security goes. If Max Security goes to the Dirt Mile, send Midcourt there, because I just want to see Midcourt F with Maximum Security all race again like he's done his last few starts. That's all. Just give me that at the Breeders' Cup. I'll be a happy Magic.
I would be surprised if Midcourt shows up.
I mean, he shouldn't, but
but you never know.
You never know. We could, realistically, there's still a few more weeks. You could see a lot of defections, horses getting hurt, horses getting sick. Not that we want it, but it always happens. And if it starts to lighten things up, if you got Midcourt and you're like, he's probably the 5th best horse. Let's see if he peaks at that day. I don't know. I wouldn't do it, but we're not the ones that pay the bills. Let's see. Let's move on to the Longines Distaff. We didn't have any Breeders' Cup winning urine races from the past weekend, so we can make this pretty quick. A notable of interest here. Swiss Skydivers could very well likely be cross-entered in both. See what happens with her. CC and Speech, they're both going to be cross-entered here in the Distaff and in the Filly and Mare Sprint, which I think it's interesting. I don't know how much I love either one in either spot, but you got to wait to see what McCarthy does there. Fighting Mad is now officially out of the Longines Distaff. That's going to make things interesting. Bob Affert said, I didn't like how she ran. I didn't like that she got defeated, and don't go to the Breeders' Cup with any hesitation, so we're going to wait, point to a stakes probably in January, he said. So not that really changes much, Mike, because I think we all know who we're going to pick. I think this is going to be the heaviest single of the entire weekend right there, Monomoy Girl, right?
Yeah, remember when you could get her at 2-1? That was fun.
That was looking pretty good right now, isn't it, buddy?
That's looking pretty good right now. Mike's happy about that one. Yeah, Monomoy Girl is head and shoulders above this division, and she is the likely gate favorite. I would guess she goes off under even money in this spot, especially if you don't see Swiss Skydiver here. Currently, you can get her at a plus 150 still. She's still 3-2. Which I think is still crazy value if she shows up in the gate.
That's somehow you're still getting invited to the wedding.
Yeah.
We should be at the funeral stage. No, we're going wedding. I brought it up before, but Horologist, her owners did supplement her, so she's going to be in there. Pace scenario-wise, it's a little difficult to look at, but I would think without Fighting Mad in here doing a lot of the work, this is at least going to help your front runners. A horse like Aaron's going to laugh. Not only she has a chance to win, but Latruska, suddenly you could see her in a race like this because she just loves to go right to the front. If she ends up going to the Distaff, she could definitely play a part in the pace. Without Fighting Mad, I just don't see a lot of pace on paper here.
Yeah, I mean, Fighting Mad and Swiss Skydiver were the two most likely horses to go to the lead. Without them, you got to think that CC or Ollie's Candy would be next. But if they're dodging Monomoy Girl to go run in this Filly and Mare Sprint, which I think is probably a good move on both of them, Monomoy Girl might be the pace. It might just, eat them for lunch and spit them out as fumes if she wins by 15. I mean, this could get. She might be able to go around twice against this field when it actually comes right out of the gate.
All right, yeah, that's good. I think we'll come back to Monomoy Girl here in a little bit because I do have another topic to bring up. Let's go take a look at the Longines Turf, if I can find it here on the list. So we got some big news. Enable is now officially retired. She's going to go off to the breeding shed. It said we're not going to see her one last time, especially in America, but the way that she ran in the ARC, kind of tell she probably didn't quite have, she didn't look like the old Enable that we saw in 2018. Love and Magic. What's that?
No reason to push it.
No, not with her. She's one of
amazing career, wonderful horse.
What are the top 2-3 most valuable horses in the world right now? Like, you don't, at least as far as females, like you don't just, don't risk anything. Love and Magical, they're both expected to come over, face the boys. What's going to be interesting about that is Love is a 3-year-old filly. Aiden O'Brien feels like she and Magical both could handle it. Gaiath is expected to ship over. He actually lost to Magical last time out. So those are your top Euros right now. Could be some others thrown in the mix later. My question to you is: are we really, as far as Americans go, based on Zulu Alpha, United, Channel Maker, Arklow? Like, is this really our best shot? And did we just get, blessed with bricks and mortar last year, and this is the year we go, yep, Euros are better?
I mean, we do have Rock Emperor. Let's not forget about Rock Emperor.
No. I'd rather play Aquaphobia.
I think Factor This is the U.S. horse with the best shot to win. I'm not saying that Factor This will win. I think the Factor This is the U.S. shot to win this race. It's amazing. The Europeans are Gaiath is plus 175, Love plus 225, Magical 7-1. The three leaders in the current betting offshore. Channel Maker next at 8-1 with United at 8-1 as well. It's going to be interesting. I think a key here is how the turf turns up on this day. If you have a really firm, fast Keeneland turf course, I think you could beat the European horses. If you have any type of cut in the ground, watch out. They're going to be better. So I think how the turf ends up playing is the key here. You probably can go 3 deep and move along if you want to, though.
Interesting. Okay. I hadn't thought about Factor This, but because he wasn't showing up on a lot of lists as a strong contender. If he shows up, and like you said, if you get a lot of pace, so you think that he would be better if there's a pace setup that favors early speed? He's better set up than Channel Maker. Yeah, I mean, well, he's faster than Channel Maker. Channel Maker is only the lead in New York when no one else wants it. Right? That's very true.
So what I could see from a pace perspective here is, you see Factor This go out, and if it's a firm, fast turf course, Factor This goes out, goes right to the lead, tries and takes it to him. You'll see Channel Maker sitting on the outside, and then you're going to have the Europeans who are further back, not used to this quicker, firmer turf and quicker pace up front. Maybe it gets them far enough back that Factor This can get to the line first. So that to me would be the argument for it. Yes, bricks and mortar almost got beat by United last year, but that was in California, which I think makes a difference than being in Keeneland. I think, again, it goes back to the turf course and how it plays and the setup there. And United is very, very good in California. So that would be why I would take United down a notch here versus kind of where I would project. If this was at Santa Anita, I would have United as a playable horse. But since it's not, it's kind of tough for me.
Yeah, he really loves the hard, firm turf out in California, and I'm probably going to play him at least a little bit when he goes to the race. But that's me betting with my heart. I wouldn't sit here and tell you that I think it. But I also didn't. I thought he had a shot last year to make some noise. I didn't think he was going to miss by a head. I think I had him fourth in that year. But I mean, he also ran into a buzzsaw that was bricks and mortar, a horse that only loved to win by as little as necessary. So you got to remember,
he was also 50-1, and today he's going to be 6-1, 8-1, right? I think that is the biggest.
He's not going to surprise people this year.
No, you're not getting the same value on United as you were last year on a home course.
All right, Mike, let's talk about the race you've been having a puckered butthole about it the whole time since the show started. We're going to look at the Maker's Mark Filly Mare Turf Division, specifically Civil Union winning the Breeders' Cup Winter and Flower Bowl Stakes at Belmont Park on Saturday. I'll leave it up to you. Which would you rather talk about first? Losing the bet to me about who would lead halfway into or at the half-mile point in the race, or losing to my top pick with your top pick that I didn't use? Which would you rather talk about first there?
I would rather talk about the half-mile first. Because I feel like we originally didn't even include the two horses that set the pace.
That's why I went to, when you said it's no push, I was like, give me both Albertronics, because I don't know which one was it.
That is where I'm a little salty about that bet, to be honest, because it was the second deep. But to be fair, my second deep horse was the other one, pushing your horse. Also, Lovely Lucky finished last. So, it completely blew itself, shot the water on that first turn. Yeah. And my point was correct. The pace was completely different than the pace of the previous race, which is what you said. But all that being said, I lost, and your damn horse got up. So, what am I supposed to do here? It sucked. It was not fun. I will say this, though. Most I cared about the opening half mile in a race all year. I was
Well, and what's great, too, is that we had people messaging and texting us saying, the same, Aaron stopped watching OU Texas, which is one of the biggest college football games of the year for him. He stopped watching for 2 minutes because he didn't give a shit about the race, aside from the fact he wanted to know who won our contentious bets that we made on our show on Thursday.
Unbelievable, man. And this was like Civil Union ran well.
My sister Nat ran better than I thought she would. For her to get that close, I thought I was going to lose it for a second.
I was happy I played her across the board. She was at 7-1. I texted Chan like 7-1's ridiculous. She went off at 5-1. I played her across the board because 5-1. She should have been the favorite in this field. I'm going to stand by that, but she's not. So it's what it is. And then she just missed by a head and just didn't want to go by. I mean, that really was. She just kind of hung out there, and she's like, I got a towel over here. I got some underwear over there. We're just going to put them on this wire and hang together. I mean, it was bad, man.
That's kind of what I was trying to get across in the show on Thursdays. I've played her enough times and seen her enough that's what she just loves to do. She just it's frustrating, but I'll get you handicapped that race well. It blew up in your face. And by the way, I'm still waiting for the $20. So anytime you want to send that over, buddy.
All right. Get my Venmo out here.
I told you I was going to call you. So while Mike pulls up his Venmo, it's Chris Keller. You know how to spell
back, though.
What's that?
I'm gonna have to get this back. You know that, right?
I know. That's what I'm scared about. Is that Aaron was like, "You guys need to do this more." I said, "Okay, great. Who's gonna bankroll? Because if you play the long game, I'm gonna lose money on this. Well, I got it right once."
Now that we know everyone loves it, let's just do like $100 on the next one.
Yeah. See, this is what I mean. Yeah. Now the shark is angry, so I'm not gonna throw more blood in the water for him to come after. So as far as contenders go, Chad Brown's always the name you have to start with. Not sure if my sister Nat's going to go to the race. He is for sure going to send Rushing Fall and Sister Charlie. They're going to Mount 316, so it helps Rushing Fall a little bit. Obviously, she loves that course. Mean Mary still expected to go for Grand Motion. From the Euros, Tarnawa, she's 3 for 3 in Europe. She's expected to come over. Cayenne Pepper, this is a Group 2 winner who's looked pretty good. Aldaria, who's a Group 1 winner. She was 3rd to Tarnawa last time out. Again, we said this before, but I want to see who the Euros are because this is usually a spot where I like to play European horses. And I don't know that anybody on the American side, I'm going to use Rushing Fall because of the horse for course angle, but beyond her, even Civil Union, I don't know if I'm going to use her.
Yeah, I think this one, a lot of it's going to depend on what we actually see when the forms come out. I think this is awfully tough to project early. I mean, I like Mean Mary. I like Rushing Fall. I like these horses, but it's going to be interesting to see who comes over. I will say Magical and Love were the 3rd and 4th choices in this race. So now they're off the board because they're going another direction. So that moves Mean Mary up to the 3rd choice. Tanawa is the 2nd choice right now, and Rushing Fall is actually your favorite, 3.5 to 1.
3.5. What's Tarnawa trading at?
Tanawa is at 4 to 1 right now.
Ooh, Rushing Fall versus the top choice in Europe. What would you play with that one? I'd go Rushing Fall, but I don't know. I'd have to see more of Tarnawa's races too. Maybe you're in the same boat.
I haven't seen her enough overseas, so I would be interested. And again, I want to see the form and see if this distance suits her, and also the pace setup I think is really important here for Rushing Fall too.
Darren Sipes is calling a repeat of their last race. Mean Mary, Rushing Fall, Exacta Box. I don't know about that one. It's not a terrible bet, but I don't know that I would play that myself. I'm just not that big on Mean Mary right now.
I love Mean Mary. I really do. I mean, I picked her over Rushing Fall last time. She ran her eyeballs out and just missed on the front end. It's all good to me. If Mean Mary gets a lone lead, I don't know how you don't use her. That's the thing. Because if she projects to be the pace, she's improved every start this year. Like, why can't she get better again? And Rushing Fall is Rushing Fall now, which is amazing. But we're at the plateau. So now can anyone, bump up, jump on top of that mountain?
It's just ridiculous how good Rushing Fall, like how consistently good she, like the fact that this is going to be her last race it really hurts because I remember being there for her first Breeders' Cup race and then seeing her all the way to 5. Oh man, this makes me feel old. I've been in this sport long enough that I remember these horses starting off as babies.
Just trying to give you a little background music there while you like wax poetic about your love.
I thought there was a car driving by and I was like, what the hell is that? It's Mike humming. That's what that is.
If I had a tissue, I'd hand it through the screen for you.
I appreciate it. Oh, geez, and I don't have my, I always have like little. I always spill something, usually water, so I always have like a napkin nearby, but it's way over there. I can't reach it. Oh well. Since I don't have a napkin nearby, we'll go ahead and talk about the FanDuel Mile presented by the PDJF. Again, no big Breeders' Cup winning urine races from this past weekend, but we do have plenty of contenders to discuss. First of all, Chad Brown, again, you got to start with him. He's expected to send 4 of them. Uni, who's your defending race champion, finally looked great last 2 weekends ago. Raging Bull, Digital Age, and without parole. They're all expected to go, and I can't wait to see you play without parole in the Breeders' Cup. Also, Mo Forza from California is expected to go. Ivar won the Shadwell Turf Mile over Keeneland. He's going. Holiday scratched out of the Shadwell with a minor issue. Pletcher's hoping that he's going to be fine. Right now, all signs are pointing to Holiday going. March to the Arch. As far as Euros go, maybe Circus Maximus from Aidan O'Brien. You could see Pinatubo, who was the top juvenile in Europe last year, for Charlie Appleby. Earthlight, this is another top European with Andre Faber. A little tough, but do you like to go Americans here right now? Is that where you're leaning?
Yeah, I mean, right now I would lean toward the Americans just because this is such a deep group of Americans, right? I mean, look, the Gottstormies, Beau Recall, Raging Bull. I mean, Mo Fuerza, this is a really deep field. Let's not forget about Digital Age, also a very good horse. I mean, this is a really deep field, and I mean, I didn't even talk about Without Parole yet, which I got to at least mention, right? Look, Without Parole actually will probably be 25+1 and hit the super in this race. I'm just saying that. Like, that might be the way I finally get all my money back on Without Parole after losing the last 3 races. So I do think that's an interesting underneath horse. Obviously, Ivar ran really well. So there's a lot of different directions to go. I think this is going to be one of the most competitive races. I am not going to single this race. I think you definitely have to try and see if you can beat Newspaper of Record in here, who I think is going to go off as the favorite.
She's not. I don't think she's going anymore.
Oh, she's out now?
I think her loss last out. Because Chad listed 4 and none of them were Newspaper.
Well, now that makes it more interesting up front too, because that takes out a lot of the speed that was going to be in this race. I mean, Starship Jubilee obviously sends, and Ivar will send. So this race is where I think you can really go price hunting on the second day. I think this race can produce a big time number because you're going to have an absolute stampede for the finish line with 8 or 9 horses trying to close, and you could see a hot pace early that sets it up for one of these horses swinging 4, 5, 6, 7 wide.
Yeah, I think this will be one of the most. I'm with you. I think this will be one of the most exciting finishes. You could definitely listen. If Without Parole wins this race, I'll come on air the next time and praise it because I just don't expect that happening at all. I think it would surprise a lot, and I think you're right. I think you get a good price on him.
And underneath is the play with Without Parole here. Look at that. Look, if you can get Raging Bull, Without Parole at double-digit odds for underneath. Those are great plays. I mean, I'll probably be a sucker and bet Raging Bull again in that spot, but we'll see what happens. But I do think that's going to be you're going to have a nice super payout. I think you can get a price home in the pick 5 here.
Would you rather have Factor this if you were his connections? Would you rather put him in the mile or in the Breeders' Cup Turf?
Breeders' Cup Turf.
I'm with you. I think you just need so much speed as a front runner in the mile. You basically need to have sprinter speed. That I'm with you. I think he would carry that over better going longer. We
talk about speed as a weapon. Speed going a mile and speed sprinting isn't as much of a weapon because you just run all out the whole time. Speed going of distance is much more of a weapon because you can stretch the field out, string the field out, force them to go a little faster than they want to early and minimize their kick late. Whereas against this field, I don't see that early speed being as big of a danger for Factor this. Yeah, and Aaron agrees. Yeah, he basically said the same thing. He'll get burned up in the mile versus being the fastest horse in the race in the turf. Yeah, that's something that you like to say with your handicapping. I want the horse that's in the lead as they come off the turn. Factor this will be in the lead off the turn in the Breeders' Cup Turf. If he is in the Breeders' Cup Mile, he's huffing and puffing to do it. He is gasping for some air. Yeah. We'll move on and talk about the Big Ass Fans Dirt Mile, Aaron's favorite race over the weekend. Hey, look at that. Midcourt shows back up. This is where it gets interesting. War of Will is making his final career start in this race before he goes off to stud. Plenty of good older dirt males here. Mr. Money expected to go Silver Dust, Owendale, Pirates Punch. Rushy is expected to show up here. Question marks about Mr. Freeze when the Haggard Fiat last out. Art Collector could show up here instead of in the Classic. Complexity, it sounds like Chad Brown's leaning here instead of in the Sprint. Vekoma, we still don't know what he's going to do. And then I thought this was interesting. Sharp Samurai, second place in the Pacific Classic. Could go to the Big Ass Fans Dirt Mile or to the Turf Mile. I don't think he's got a shot in hell in either spot, but hey, thanks for considering it. What do you think about this race? Man, if Complexity shows up here, I think he's the horse to beat. Really? I like Complexity in this spot right now. Obviously, I think Mr. Freeze is a chuck after that last race. I think that you're going to get money on him now. He beat a grade 2 field, but it was a bad grade 2 field, and he had been facing better grade 1 and grade 2 fields and got beat by those. So I don't seem to be able to win here. I would like Vekoma, but I think Vekoma's going to the Sprint. We talked about that last week. So I would kind of lean away from there. after that, there's just not a ton in here. I mean, that's the bottom line. Is it's like if you look at the offshore odds, Vacoma's your favorite. Improbable's your second choice. Authentic's your third choice, because if either of them go, they're the heavy favorite. That's why they're in here. Complexity is your fourth choice. Tis the Law, your fifth choice. Mr. Freeze, your sixth choice. CZ Rocket, Mucho Gusto, McKenzie. I mean, like, yeah, this kind of, to me, is Complexity's division if he shows up, depending on who else ends up in here.
This is why I love overseas books, because Mucho Gusto just worked for the first time since winning the Saudi Cup a couple of days ago. He's sure as shit not going to make the Breeders' Cup. And McKenzie's retired, so that's not happening.
Uncle Chuck is 12-1 overseas right now.
Is that horse even alive? Do we know?
Win is 16-1.
Did he ship back from New York? Did Bob just leave him? Say screw
Hold
it.
on. I got one for you.
Okay.
I got a bargain for you. You can bet your whole $20 on this, and I'll give you double the odds they're offering. Charlatan's 8-1.
That horse is that horse is gone too. God,
I don't know if Nick's Go is going. Nick's Go would be interesting in this spot to me. Nick's Go would be seriously interesting in this spot to me, because you have a speed horse who has won on this course before, who likes the two turns. Like, Nick's Go has got a real shot.
He does. I'm mad I didn't have to I didn't have him on my list. I didn't think about that. I forget that he set that stupid track record. Question from Dennis: Rushy or Mr. Freeze? Which would you take? Mr. Freeze. I thought he ran. He had a shit trip and still beat that field. Like, that's how the field wasn't great, and I think that kind of demonstrated by Mr. Freeze how he won that race. But I would take him over Rushy. What about you?
Aurelius Maximus hung badly to not go by, and Title Ready was coming. Like, that was what he beat.
But he was like 4 or 5 wide the entire time. That's why I say, like, it's. I say no to. How about this? No to both. I don't. Rushy.
I will not include either in my pick 4s or pick 5s.
Yeah.
I would lean Rushy over Mr. Freeze, because I think you can get a huge price. I think Mr. Freeze can get way over bet.
That's a good point.
I'm purely looking at value there, not really, because I don't think either can win.
If you have to play one or the other, I guess, yeah, Rushy's going to have the value. God, those are both not great decisions.
Yeah.
I still stand by. Can I take Art Collector over both of those? Can I just do that instead? Sure.
I wouldn't play him either.
Everybody's saying the same thing. Neither. That's a good yeah. Good job, guys. Everybody's in agreement on that one.
Good job, everybody.
Let's take a look at the Filly and Mare Sprint. Gamine, I think, is going to be one of the top choices here. Serengeti Empress could show up. Hard Not to Love, I think if she goes to Breeders' Cup, this is a better spot. I still say don't ship Hard Not to Love. Don't do that to her. She's nutty enough when she's on her home turf. Don't do that. Venetian Harbor, maybe. I know you love Bell's the One. Frank's Rocket, Bellafina, who is not going to win because it's not in California. In the Midst of Biz, Come Dancing. Are you still on Bell's the One here?
Yeah, ring that bell. I'll take that. She ran down. I like Serengeti Empress too. She ran down Serengeti Empress last time. I think she can do it again. I think she's going to get the pace again. I think she's going to get the trip again, and she's improving. I mean, so Bell's the One to me is definitely a horse to beat here, or one I'm going to use and hopefully get a price on. She's 10-1 overseas right now. I mentioned Sally's Curlin last time. If she goes, I think she's interesting at a price. And then I think Frank's Rocket is kind of interesting here too. I think she's kind of been on the upswing and been improving. She might be one that I take a swing at. But this is another division where I'm not going to accept a short price on Serengeti Empress, because Serengeti Empress and Gamine are going to be your two favorites. They both want to do the exact same thing. And I mean, they're going to eyeball each other, and neither's going to slow down. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
The Venetian Harbor is actually going in the Lexus Raven Run Stakes, which is coming up at Keeneland, which Shamrock Rose won on her way to upsetting the Filly and Mare Sprint. So she is supposed to be running very soon, but I wouldn't. There's precedent set where you can run in that race against straight 3-year-olds and flip back to the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. And since it's going to be at the same track and Baltus has a Kentucky string, I would not be surprised if she shows up in that spot. This is a division that, in my short memory, always seems to spring an upset. I don't think Kofefi was much of a price last year, but I'll never forget Bar of Gold winning at like some ridiculous, like 66-1, just ridiculous odds here. So I'm with you. Give me a price, and I think Bell's the one's going to be the one to do it.
Isn't this the one that Dan picked the winner 2 years ago and then didn't bet it too?
3 years ago, Shamrock Rose.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, so that's a quick story. So Dan, it was 2017. I think. So we all go to the Breeders', or was it Churchill? It might have been 2018. Anyways, we go to the Breeders' Cup. And then Dan is all about Shamrock Rose. And we were doing the Breeders' Cup Roundtable podcast. Everybody kind of made fun of it. We were all laughing. Like, nobody considered this horse.
He texted me. He's like, I like Shamrock Rose, right? You like her? You like her? I love her.
And so he's hyping him up. And he had such a bad – we record that, and then he has a terrible Friday. Like, loses every single bet. And so he's convinced he's convinced himself that every opinion he's had is wrong, and he's going to listen to us. And then Shamrock Rose goes out there and just pulls that huge upset. And the last horse hasn't even crossed. And I'm texting him because he's not – we're in the press area. I'm like, dude, did you tell me you bet Shamrock Rose? Nope, didn't bet her.
25-1.
That was bad. I'm sorry, Dan.
Yeah, no, this division generally has a pace meltdown, and you usually have like a bunch of good speed horses that all just bang each other in the nose and then fade back and some random one wins. And you have like 6 wide horses like almost every single time at top of the stretch. So yeah, this is a great race to look for a price too.
I like Wisconsin a little bit, half because everybody in that the ownership group, they're all went to University of Wisconsin, so a lot of their horses get named after things relating to that. But I mean, yeah, fly the W for Wisconsin. Why not?
I'm probably not going to play Wisconsin. I think the race that Wisconsin won was just an epic setup in a 5-horse field. I mean, there wasn't like you just had to be the best of the horses clunking home. You didn't have to like be a dominant horse in that spot because I can't remember the 2 horses that absolutely burned each other up front. But man, they went rocket ship fast early.
Let me see. I got to figure out where we're at next year. I got a little bit off. The dirt sprint didn't have anything change from here. Do you have any? Yopan, I think, is still going to be a big pace presence.
What are you talking about? Nashville. Big change.
That's right, Nashville. Thank you for that. I knew there was someone new. Nashville. Talk about him.
Horse is really fast. Maybe faster than Yopan, out of the same barn. So you would expect that they both don't clunk heads together. You'd think that one of them is going to go and the other is going to be sitting right behind. But man, Nashville was ultra impressive. It was an allowance, so it wasn't like this was a big race. But the definition of one for fun is Nashville. That it was just the easiest of easy wins, and just looked ultra impressive. It's a 3-year-old, tons of early speed out of the Asserson barn. It's going to be interesting to see where Santana lands, if it's Yopan or Nashville.
Do you really think he would send both? Because they're both front-running, speedy 3-year-olds.
Owned by different ownership groups.
It's true.
So
and it's China Horse Club and WinStar that own Nashville.
So yes, I do think they will send both.
It'd be interesting. If in a perfect world, because he's only got 2 starts, he breaks the maiden at Saratoga on debut by 11.5 lengths. I know he was a 4-horse field, but he ran them off their feet and then backs it up at Keeneland by 9 3/4. Both times looked incredibly beat Wayne. Oh, for crying out loud! That's how good Nashville is.
Yeah, that was Steve Asmussen in a nutshell. First and last.
I would, because the Malibu's coming up. That's restricted 3-year-olds. That's in late December. If they're even,
run them both.
I guess run them both. But I feel like at this point, Yopan he's past the grade 6. He's past the big level tests. I would send Yopan and then send the other one there. But if one goes and the other doesn't, and it's not because one of them's hurt, that should give you a big clue as to where Asmussen's at up here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, man, scared money don't make money. Get them both in there.
Here's a good question. By the way, Darren Sipes, 6th fastest 6 furlongs ever in the last 227 races. Wow, that's flying. That's crazy. Diamond Oops is going to be crossed. I mean, Patrick Biancone said he's basically going to flip a coin and either go dirt sprint or turf sprint. This is a horse you've liked for a long time. You've been on him for quite a while. Which would you feel more confident about betting him in, the turf sprint or the dirt sprint? The dirt sprint.
The dirt sprint. I put him in the dirt sprint just because the turf sprint's loaded and the dirt sprint is not. I mean, look, he just beat Whitmore, right? He's going to have the pace to run into in the dirt sprint. He's showed he can come from off the pace. So Diamond Ooms, I think, fits better there. The turf sprint is, I mean, do you really want to run into my buzzsaws, my boys? Is that what you're really looking to do? I mean, they're very, very good at turf sprinting. And that's a different type of speed, turf sprinting. I mean, it is just raw,
quarter-horse speed.
Yeah. And so, I'd rather show up in the dirt if I'm Diamond Oops.
Still don't want anything with Collusion Illusion, Frenzy Fire. CZ Rocket is gonna. I don't know if he's trading as the favorite right now, but that horse is gonna take a ton of money. He's got it was during the summer, but he set the track record at Keeneland. And it's Peter Miller, and look at the magic he's done with this horse since then. Are you going to use him defensively? Do you think is he a must play for you, CZ Rocket?
Chancelot is the current favorite overseas.
Seriously?
Yeah, 3.5 to 1. No, I'm not going to play CZ Rocket. Currently 7.5 to 1 overseas. Vekoma is the other one we haven't talked about. Who, if Vekoma ends up in here, is probably your favorite in the gate, and has been ultra impressive this year. So we'll see where Vekoma lands here. I'm fading the California horses. I don't want anything with CZ Rocket, Collusion, Illusion. No thanks, all of them. I think this is really going to come down to Vekoma, which Asmussen shows up. Maybe yeah, that's probably it. I mean, Firenze Fire I think is interesting too, because Firenze Fire's actually run really well the last 2 races. So maybe you could do something there, but I think I would probably lean on Vekoma and which one of the 2 Asmussens here.
Just don't trust Firenze Fire at the big stage like that. Away from New York, I know he's looked okay, but I just don't trust him at this point.
Outside of the new barn, and now running well for the new barn, I think outside of New York might be something you have to think about again, because you don't know what was allowed where or what was done where. So I think you have to at least give him a benefit of the doubt going into this race.
All right, you want to talk about the turf sprint? Let's talk about this race. Got Stormy wins the Buffalo Trace Franklin County Stakes on Friday. It's not a Breeders' Cup winning year in, but she looked incredible. Didn't get off the best. She's going the shortest distance of her career, second to last at the top of the stretch, and I thought for sure, Mike, that she was done and the Gafflin was going to wrap her up, and he just steers her out, and off she goes, gets the job done. She's obviously going to the turf sprint. Jolie Olympica is not. That has been confirmed. Alexandra is. She's put in a bunch of works lately. She got hurt in the Jaipur, winning that race from a miracle win. She still seems like she's going to be on track for this, surprisingly. But your top picks, you love Leinster, and you also love Imprimis. Talk about them.
They're the best 2 turf sprinters in the world. Leinster at 5.5 is just straight fire. Like, the guy is unbelievable. Correct there. And Leinster's amazing going 5.5. I liked him last year. I like him this year. Imprimis is lights out good. Should have won on Travers Day. Won at Kentucky Downs. Can handle more distance. Can handle less distance. A little more versatile. Both have tactical speed. Both don't need the lead. Like, they don't need the lead, but they're close to there, so they're not getting as much trouble as other people. I mean, I love these 2 horses. I'm going to be. If I have the stones to go too deep in this race, it will be those 2 horses, and that'll be it. This is a tough race to go too deep in, though. I mean, do we know if Batosh is coming over? Have we heard yet?
Yeah, Batosh is expected because he scratched out of a race overseas, and there's people that are thinking that's the sign that he's coming to Keeneland. I mean,
Batosh is a monster. Got Stormy to me is a hard fade. Going to get way over bet off that effort, which was incredible. She ran amazing. Can't wait to play against her.
So it's like the last horse that even finished, and Mike goes, up. Can't wait to fade her.
It's true, though.
Like thanks, wet blanket.
No, what? Look, I said, I prefaced it with she ran really well. Can't wait to bet against her. Yep. Because, she beat a good field. She didn't beat this field. And she might be the favorite in this race. The hype train is real,
She's going to be up there. She's definitely going to be up there.
So I'm excited to be able to try and play against her and see what we can do here. But yeah, I mean, I've been on Imprimis and Leinster all year. I've been talking them up on this show all year. I'm not going to change my tune now.
This little California-bred filly, Bulletproof One's supposed to go too. She's. I mean, that's a quarter horse if there's a quarter horse in this race. She
was fast. Oh, it was opening race of the Santa Anita meet, second race, something like that. She was ultra.
That big stakes race. The big it was the Awesome Again Day. They had 7 stakes races. She had the opening one, and she was gone. Listen, Euros don't usually do well in this race, so if Batosh comes over and takes money, I'm with you. This horse is a beast when he's over in Europe, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. We'll talk. We got 2 last races to talk about, so let's see if we can wrap this up real quick. The TVG Juvenile presented by the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance. This race, where are you? I think we talked about Monomoy Girl being possibly the biggest favorite of the weekend. The second biggest favorite, probably going to be Jackie's Warrior. Wins the Winning You're In Champagne Stakes on Saturday. Gets 100 buyer for it. The first 2-year-old, I believe, to break the 100 buyer mark this year. My question for you, is he going to be the one that breaks this recent trend of the juvenile favorites misfiring, or is this a race where you're like, I can't, it's going to be such a short number on him? Essential Quality look good, maybe some others look good. What do you think about this?
It's past every test. I mean, that's the big part of this. I mean, beating good fields, now beating reinvestment risk twice. So maybe now we're repeating that. But I mean, point me to a better 2-year-old, I think, is my biggest. I mean, look, the new era in the last 3 years We're seeing more and more. Well, it is a new era because of how
No.
they're being trained for the Derby.
It's the magic era. That's why I like that you called it the new era. I was like, yes.
Yeah, there you go. The magic era. Pre-Magic Mike show. Horses would generally get a couple races in, go to the Breeders' Cup, start their 3-year-old campaign, and target the Derby. We are seeing so many Derby candidates, the best 2-year-olds, the best 3-year-olds, who've been eventually going to be the best 2-year-olds, wait to make their first start. And so when I look at a horse like Jackie's Warrior, who has passed all the tests to this point, my biggest question is who can jump out of nowhere and beat it. Now, we'll see, even like the Good Magic, who broke its maiden winning this race. That was a very good horse in a big field against Maglodoro,
Bolt
Doro.
Yeah.
Who like was the favorite, but facing tough conditions. I don't see those same tough conditions for Jackie's Warrior, and that's my biggest knock on trying to beat this horse. I'm happy this race is on Friday. We'll put it that way, because I'll probably end up singling Jackie's Warrior and then spreading out in the other 4 races around it.
This is still Jackie Warrior's done nothing wrong, but from a value perspective, I'm looking at essential quality. I said this after he won at Keeneland. I think this horse is. This is gonna be my top pick probably in this race, and there's literally nothing wrong with Jackie's Warrior, other than Jackie's Warrior hasn't gone 2 turns yet. Essential quality passed that test, and Jackie's Warrior has a little bit of sprint pedigree, being by McLean's Music, not always known for giving horses that can handle 2 turns, but obviously Uncle Chuck, until the Traverse, was a highly touted horse, and has had some others. So it's not that he can't give 2-turn horses, but I think I'm leaning the horse for course angle with essential quality here.
I can't knock you. I have a feeling essential quality is 2-1 in this race. Like
probably a Jackie's Warrior sub.
Yeah, Jackie's Warrior's 6-5 even money, and then no one else is under 8-1.
Yep.
And if that's the case, you should make a choice. Don't play both. Take a stand. But I don't think there's a ton of value at 2-1. If she's 5-1 on the board, my tune would change pretty quickly here. But at 2-1, I would rather take the horse I think is more proven.
Yeah. Last race we'll talk about, the Juvenile Phillies here, and it's because Day Out of the Office springs. Actually, I'm sorry, we do have 2 to talk about. We'll go real quick. Day Out of the Office wins the Frisette, gets a 92 buyer here. There's a horse that was completely ignored in her last race, then she comes and wins the Frisette, backs it up. Juvenile Phillies, you got a feeling here. Princess Noor, Vequist, where are you going?
Princess Noor right now still. It's the main question of buyers versus visual. I mean, she looks amazing, but her buyers look terrible. So it's really, do you trust your eyes, or do you trust the numbers? And then, what do you do from there? I will not be singling her though. I'm going to be. Oh, no. I'm going to be taking some swings in this spot.
Especially if Victor Espinoza's riding. I said that before. I'm going to keep saying that. If Victor Espinoza's riding that horse, that's a.
Victor Espinoza bashing is like the Washington State flag in College game day. If you don't get one in a show, you consider it a waste.
Good. We hit our one. We can move on. The Juvenile Turf Sprint, the final Breeders' Cup prep race of the entire damn Challenge Series. The Futurity at Belmont on Sunday, 2nd of July. Second straight big upset. This horse breaks his maiden at 68-1, fighting Gamely in the stretch. Comes here, nobody gives him a shot again. And again, he fights Gamely in the stretch to win. What do you think about that race and this division?
Man, this one's one of those that I think is wide open too. We generally lean on the U.S. horses here just because the Euros don't do all that well. I mean, we talked about this race in depth. I think it was last weekend. Wi-Fi is still the horse that I like. The closing on that Santa Anita course, I think, was amazing. If you get a fair set up, I think Wi-Fi is going to be awfully tough here. Golden Pal, obviously, is the class of the division. Yeah, you probably don't want to go more than 3 deep, but this might be a good stars and scrubs race. We take Golden Pal and then 2 wild swings to try and beat him with big numbers and try and get those home, assuming that you have your base covered with Golden Pal.
Royal Approval won a race. I'm going to pull it up because I can't remember what exactly. It wasn't a full-on Breeders' Cup win in Europe, but did win a stakes race at Belmont. The Matron, that's what she won. And she is probably going to go to the Breeders' Cup as well. But Wesley Ward did say he's considering the Juvenile Phillies turf, and he thinks that she can stretch out. So, again, I'm with you. It has been the Golden Pal show in this division for a while. You and I both loved Wi-Fire. I think that's where we stay with those and, see how things – I think that with this, the Juvenile Turf Sprint and the regular Turf Sprint, I think the draw I'm going to give a lot more credence to than I did last year because I loved Eddie Haskell, and he drew inside, and I should have known from watching that horse every race he hates the inside. And, Belvoir Bay from all the way out in 12 gets the job done. So the draw is obviously going to take a little bit of a chance with that. Do you feel that way with Turf Sprints too?
Yeah, I want middle or out because there's so much speed, and if you're inside, you better go, or else you can get shuffled real fast. So I would, and Golden Pal is one of those unique horses who he's fast enough that it doesn't matter. He could probably draw anywhere and get free. But if you're coming from off the pace or you want to stalk, inside is a terrible spot to be in those turf sprints. The outside, you can really dictate where you want to be. And let's be honest, being 4 wide and being 2 wide in the turf sprint is not a major detriment. Like if you're 4 wide, 3 straight turns going 1.25 miles, yeah, that's a problem. If you're going 5.5 and you're hung 3 wide, yeah, I mean, like 2. So if you're hung 4 wide and it's a turf sprint, it's not the end of the world. Whereas getting shuffled back and losing 2 lengths in a turf sprint is kind of the end of the world. I mean, that matters in that distance and that speed. So I'd much rather be wide than be shuffled.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the Magic Mike Show. Thank you so much for joining Mike and I as we went through the final weekend of Breeders' Cup official and unofficial prep races. Plenty of action still to come. Mike and I are going to be taking another stab at the Golden Hour late pick 4. Magic is a perfect 1-for-1. Can he go 2-for-2? We'll find out. Will he use Mike's $20 to make a bigger bet than he did last time? I don't know. We'll see what happens on Thursday. Did you send it? I haven't checked yet.
Yeah, it's there.
Hey, look, you saw. Oh, bless you, Mike.
I need my rights for the music I played. It's about $20. You can send that over.
That'll work. One thing we didn't get to talk about, the late pick 4 that we did at Belmont. Yeah. I want to bring this up because I've been putting dirt on you, and it's time to take a little bit of my own. 3 of my 4 top picks won. And I didn't hit that thing, which it only paid $100, so I guess I didn't lose on much, but I'll still take $100 over losing money. And it's because Tama here was the horse that I wasn't confident in. You were very confident in. She made me look like a dumbass. And also, 5 minutes after we got off the air, I noticed on DRF that they were commenting that she'd been training with My Sister Nat, with Cambier Park, with all of Chad Brown's top turf horses she had been training with in her last few. And I was like, all right. Can I go back and batter?
Well, the interesting point about that whole discussion was the Chad Brown numbers first North America, in graded stakes and out of graded stakes. And we talk about that all the time, that sometimes you need to get a little finer with the details. He's 18% in graded stakes, 10% out of graded stakes. Yeah. That tells you, if he puts a horse in the graded stakes first time North America, that horse is live. He's not doing it to waste a run.
Yeah, so congrats. You got that one correct. I had a few other people message me leading up to the race, I don't know, Tam here. She's been. I was like, yeah, I know. But I said it on the show, and I'm like, I'm going to stubbornly stick to my guns. And I played, one Chad Brown and not the other. And I played Miss J. McKay, who I think is still trying to finish that race. So always paying for a lesson.
Yeah.
Crazy. Anyways, we're going to do the Golden Hour pick 4, so make sure you come back on Thursday, 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern. We'll see you right here. Until next time, I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
Good luck this week.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.